Boy, that was a tough loss, huh?
Yeah, it was, but hey!
What?
You take that Sharks jersey off right now!
You said the future was teal!
No, you suffer in blue like the rest of us!
I just want it to be the future.
Let's go!
It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion! This is a nightmare!
With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR.
Leafs lose 4-1 to the San Jose Sharks.
Thank you for aiding in the tank effort, Sharks. Leafs lose 4-1 to the San Jose Sharks, and I am here to tell the Toronto Maple Leafs, do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want, because I feel like this has happened a couple times now where the Leafs have won a game, and I look at the standings, and I go, you know what? They shouldn't tank. They shouldn't. They're not bad enough to tank. They're not going to get all the way down to a top 5 pick. They're not going to get there. They're better off winning games. And then what do? Immediately they start losing games. Like, dude, look at the roster. I know it's not very good. And guys are hurt. And guys were traded. And. I understand all that. But it's crazy to me. Difficult to wrap my mind around that the Leafs can be the team that we saw against the Ducks the other night, and that. Now, before we talk about the game, I have to start with a bet is a bet. Last year, actually around this time last year, myself and everyone at STPN, we went on down to California, NorCal, and we hung out with the San Jose Sharks. It was a great time, and the Leafs lost that one too. But when we were there, hanging out with the Sharks, hanging out with the Barracuda, we got to interview San Jose Sharks president, Jonathan Becker. Well, he reached out to me a few days ago and he said, hey, maybe we should make a friendly little bet on Thursday's game. Which, like, you could have just asked me for money, man. I would have just given it to you. But no, we had to do a bet, and it was basically just on who is the winner of the game. Well, it turns out it's the Sharks. So I tell you what, a bet is a bet, and I'm honoring it. $100 to the Sharks Foundation. There you go, John. A bet is a bet. All you had to do was bet against the Leafs. Infinite money glitch. You're welcome. Now, talking about the game. All I want out of this stretch, because what do we got? 6 games left? We're almost there. All I want from these final few games, whether the standings matter or not, I want to learn something about this team. I want to learn something about the guys who are on it. I want to learn about the guys who want to be on it going forward. I want to learn about the young guys, what they are, what they could be, what they still need to work on. And in this game, gotta tell you, I don't feel like I learned anything. The first goal the Sharks scored from Zach Ostapchuk, that, first of all, how was that his 5th of the season? Streaking in brilliantly and with the awesome shot, but also Stoli, you really like your goalie to have that one. It's difficult to tell from the replay if it was deflected. I'm not sure. I don't think it was. And if it wasn't, ew! The contract extension does not kick in until next year. I'm going to remind everyone of that. Oh my gosh. You'd really like him to make this save. Later in the period, maybe I shouldn't have said I learned nothing from this game, because over the past few games, I feel like I've learned a lot about Nick Robertson. Because, listen, there's been a lot of conversation over the last few days about what the Leafs lack and what the Leafs need, especially with regard to culture. Specifically, you want players who care and work really hard. And Nick Robertson cares and works really hard. But there are the guys who have the talent but don't necessarily work hard all the time, and then there's Robbie. This thing right here does not need to be a goal against at all. It doesn't even need to be a shot on goal against. Nick Robertson has the puck. He's got a Shark behind him. He's got a Shark in front of him. That's a lot of Sharks. He's pinned up against the boards. He's got to get rid of it. Jake McCabe is the closest Leaf to him, so he says, okay, I'll send this to him. Well, the execution's brutal. He puts it right into his feet. McCabe's not ready for it at all. Domi is like, oh, this is coming to me. No. Toffoli does a good job winning it off of McCabe. McCabe does his best to stop the bleeding. Doesn't work. Rookie Michael Misa gets it. Drop pass to Colin Graff, who Adam Wild fell in love with in San Jose last year. And once again, this is just Stolarz one-on-one with a shooter. Oh, how could you criticize Stolarz? Because he's the goalie? Yeah, but what about? Yeah, I know what about, but that's what the goalie's for. Robertson could have done better there. McCabe could have done better there. Carlo, I don't know. Looked like he was doing his job. A lot of different Leafs could have done a little bit better there, though. But your goalie is your last line of defense, and that's a rocket from Graf. You got to give him credit. His 20th of the season. 20th goal of the season, 42nd point. 23 years old. Do you know where the Sharks drafted this guy? They didn't. That dude was a college free agent, which is why it's encouraging that the Leafs are signing some of those. Wish their CEO would get their name right, but it's, baby steps. Early in the second period, it just starts to get sad. Ironically, I'm not gonna blame this one on Stolarz. And I know, right? I know. Look how far away this shot comes from, right? Except it misses wide, bounces off the end boards, and Stolarz kicks it in! Steve, I thought you just said you weren't gonna blame it on Stolarz. I don't! I blame it on whatever god you believe in. You cannot tell me that's not the hockey gods just going, ha! Because the Leafs are the joke that never gets old to them. That's not even if you're a goaltender, tend the goal. He was tending the goal, and then it bounced off the board. That was a regular dang it. The Leafs are now down 3-0, and everyone starts to wonder, why am I up watching this? Why am I up watching this? By the time that goal was scored, it had to be like 11, quarter after 11. They're not making the playoffs, fellas. No. Nope. They're down 3-0 now. You have work in the morning. It's a weeknight. Why are you watching this? And John Tavares said, because of me. And he gets one with a nice shot on the power play. He gets the goal, an assist for Cowan. Nylander secondary assist. He keeps putting up points. It's hilarious. But that would be it. And it could have been so much worse. Stolarz made an absolutely incredible save. Although the save of the game was probably Benny. The hockey gods gifted a goal to William Eklund in the second period, and in the third, they took it right back. Wide open, yawning cage. Simone Benoit dives in front of the net to get this thing out of there. And, looking forward to next season, because all the conversations going forward are going to be, who do you want on the team? I like Benny. I do. Okay, sure. He gets beat wide, and okay, sure, he takes a lot of penalties, and okay, sure, I'm not sure how much raw skill he possesses, and what was I saying? With Benny, the vibes are always immaculate, and the effort is always at least 125, 130%, somewhere in that range. If he's on your third pair, sometimes he's out of the lineup, he's like your 6.5 defenseman next year, that's okay. What are you gonna get? What are you going to get? You could have maybe got something at the deadline. He's exactly the kind of player that teams are looking for at the trade deadline all the time, but you already didn't do that. So, I think you keep him. Anyhoozle, empty net, Adam Gaudette, Leaf legend, puts it in the empty net and 4-1. The present is teal. So let's take a look at the standings. At the time I am shooting this, which is 1:35. Okay, let's get this on the road. With this win, the San Jose Sharks, for the time being, move into a playoff spot. They are 1 point up on the LA Kings, who, ironically, the Leafs play next. And can I explain what's going to happen Saturday night? Can I explain? The Leafs need the Kings to make the playoffs. They need them to make the playoffs because the Leafs traded Scott Laughton to the Kings for a third-round pick that only turns into a second-round pick if the Kings make the playoffs. The Leafs are winning that game. You know that, right? Right? That's the Leafy thing. Now, I'm sure you're going to be back here in 48 hours when the Leafs lose 7-2. And you're going to be like, see, you can't blame me, no, for going with the leafiest outcome possible. Because that would be the greatest example, maybe in franchise history, of even when they win, they still lose. People want them to tank. They want a top 5 pick. A win would bring them further away from that reality and also block their blessings in terms of getting a second-round pick and keep it just a third. A second-round pick for Scott Laughton is still not enough. A third sucks. They already fired the guy who did it. There's no point screaming. It is a dogfight down there in the Western wildcard picture. It's not totally impossible that someone like the Sharks could catch like a team like Vegas or Edmonton. It's very unlikely. You're literally just running out of time. But what could be a really interesting scenario here is if a team like the Sharks were to jump up into that Pacific spot, knocks a team like Vegas down to the wild card picture, and all of a sudden they're competing with Utah, who, by the way, have as many points as Vegas and 5 more wins. Unlikely. The Sharks have 8 games left. It's possible. Vegas only has 6. I'm throwing it out there. Why not? And in terms of the Leafs' potential tank, I don't know anymore, man. I don't know. The Leafs have 77 points. That puts them 25th in the NHL. They are tied with the Florida Panthers, who there's none left. I don't know if you saw their roster. There's none left. There are no Panthers. They should just be called the Florida. There's no Panthers. The Jets are 1 point behind the Leafs. They've played 1 fewer game. The Kraken, who are actively trying to make the playoffs, are 2 points behind the Leafs, but have played 2 fewer games. And there's still the St. Louis Blues, who really banged up the Leafs the other night, but they're 3 points back still. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're not going to lose all 6 games for the rest of the season. And even if they do, there's going to be some overtime or shootout losses in there. I have such a hard time picturing the Leafs getting into the bottom 5. It just feels like no matter how the Leaf season ends, they're going to be hoping and praying for a little bit of lottery luck when it comes to potentially giving their pick to the Bruins. Questions. Does the Easter Bunny visit adults with ulcers? Nope. Don't think so. Let's find out. Which of y'all is going to stay up late to stream the Sharks playoff games? The future is deal. That is a very good question. So here's the plan, right? Playoff series, we don't know who's playing who. We don't. The plan is, as things stand, I am going to stream the Habs first round series. Adam is going to stream the Oilers first round series, whatever that happens to be. And Jesse, we don't know. Would like to point out, I'm not a scientist, but staying up till 2 in the morning regularly, not good for your brain. But if the Sharks have an opportunity to knock off the Avalanche, oh yeah, buddy. Producer Drew, we're streaming that. So on the night Toronto is eliminated, Mitch Marner gets a hat trick and a 5-point night as Vegas's first line center, not the second. I asked for questions. Thank you for that. That's nice. Well, the Leafs have been officially eliminated from the playoffs, which means no playoff LFRs for me, or you, or any of us, for the first time since 2016, which is a great run. It's a heck of a run. A lot of people are pointing out that it's a heck of a run. It's just hard to look at it that way when the future is so not blue. Maybe the new guy comes in and makes the future blue. Whoever that new guy is, whatever they call the new guy's job. Keith Pelly. In Keith Pelly we trust. Oh, God. Well, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. You win this one, John.